here. So this is quite a big stage, I have to say. Really makes you feel important. It's going to do wonders for my ego. So let me see. Roland, could you maybe activate the presentation? I'm not seeing it. Oh, there we go. Oh, awesome. Okay, so my name is Damir Ravosic. Most of you know me as Lord Butterfly on Hive. I'm the head of business development for VSC, Virtual Smart Chain, which is a cross-chain protocol that kind of aims to be a cross-chain hub, a universal liquidity layer for all of crypto, of course, starting with Hive, using Hive assets to achieve all these wonderful things that we're going to be doing. So I'll be talking about cross-chain a bit, talking about what problems we're trying to solve, and how we fit in the current market, what the problems are, why cross-chain is essential to maturing and evolving this space into something that can attract the wider crypto audiences and wider mainstream audiences as well. So, blockchains nowadays exist almost as separate islands in a sense. They don't really communicate, they don't really talk to each other. Each of them have their own identity systems, their own wallet addresses, in many cases, their own token standards. If you wanted to send, I don't know, Ethereum back and forth on the Ethereum blockchain, what would you do? You would, of course, download probably MetaMask, create an identity system for Ethereum, get used to the UI, get used to the system, and then you would withdraw, deposit, send tokens back and forth. And that's completely good and fine. But what if you wanted to do it on Hive, on Solana? You would have to repeat the process all over again. Get used to the UI again, get used to the new token standards, the new rules, the new ways to use these different blockchains. This type of process creates friction. It creates a user experience issue. And this user experience problem isn't something that you can fix simply by moving a few buttons on a screen, changing your login system, increasing the click-through rate, whatever it is on your website. This problem is tied to the fundamental and core ways that the crypto industry currently functions. That's where we come in. That's where VSC comes in. What we want to achieve, what we want to do, is give you choice, give you an ability to choose one wallet, one identity, and access all of crypto through it. Receive, send, hold tokens from different blockchain using one wallet of your choice. With successful business models, there's a number of things they do similarly to others. But there's one unique thing, one single thing that sets them apart, that makes them unique and valuable. For VSC, that is something we call wallet interoperability. So if you're going to remember one thing about VSC from this presentation, it should be this. VSC aims to abstract all complexity from everyday crypto use for the end user, that being in terms of payments, remittances, while increasing the ability for the dApps that are going to be deployed on our smart contracts platform to expand to the wider ecosystem, which is extremely important. So how are we going to achieve that? How are we going to do it? That's the big question. To simplify things, I kind of split VSC's approach into three different pillars. The first pillar being cross-chain swaps. Secondly, smart contracts. And thirdly, NAM, native asset mapping, which is kind of our, I wouldn't say proprietary technology, but something new that we built out that's kind of an evolution of what's possible through the cross-chain swap technology. So what are cross-chain swaps? They're basically trades that you do between blockchains without using intermediaries. They're almost always centralized, without using centralized exchanges, while maintaining full and complete sovereignty over the process of transacting, using your non-custodial wallets. So when it comes to VSC, this stuff isn't entirely and completely unique. There's a number of protocols that do things similarly to what we're doing with these cross-chain native swaps. What sets us apart from them is the use of HBD, and as we all know, HBD is a non-KYC, a stable coin of the Hive blockchain that's at zero downtime in basically 9 years. One of the biggest strengths of Hive. What this does for us, using it as the base asset in all trading pairs, is the first thing, because it's the base asset, if you compare VSC to some of the legacy protocols out there like Uniswap, for each token on VSC that exists, you would need one liquidity pool. That isn't the case with protocols like Uniswap, where to pair them all up, you would need about 5,000 liquidity pools. Of course, they don't do that, but in theory, that's something that would be necessary. So what this does is increases the efficiency of liquidity use by a significant margin. Let me see, just one second. Secondly, because it's a stable coin, it's a differentiator to our, let's say, competitors in the market in a way where we can offer one-sided volatility to liquidity providers. So if you're a risk-averse investor, you can deploy whatever token you're interested in, maybe Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, into the liquidity pools. That's going to generate some kind of fee, generate APR for you, but you're tied to a stable coin. You're not tied to an exotic token that can appreciate, depreciate. So that's kind of the biggest strength for us. I'm going to talk about a bit, which I won't repeat tomorrow because this is mostly related to Hivers, how it's going to appeal to the Hive ecosystem, to the Hive users, investors maybe. Let me see this. Okay, so there's a few ways that this will drive demand for the Hive token. There's kind of a flywheel in place when it comes to what we're trying to do. So first of all, every single swap that goes through this cross-chain protocol, through VSC, some kind of fee is generated.
Hello, hello, battery life. End of life. End of life. So it's the end of your presentation, no? Ha ha ha. So funny. Oh, I think it's the end of the battery. Ah, he said it's cross-chain swapping, yes? Yeah. On the Hive blockchain. Boom, 3 seconds.
There we go. Okay, awesome. So where was I? Yeah, so there are some fees that are going to be generated from each of these swaps. So you can also say the more swaps that VSC does, the more volume we do, the more fees are generated, and all those fees are then sold, be that if they're in Bitcoin or Ethereum, and HBD is bought. So the more volume we do, the more inherent demand there's going to be for the HBD token. Secondly, each of the liquidity pools, as I said before, uses HBD as the base asset. So the more demand there is from users, the more liquidity you're going to need in the pools. Because everything is paired with HBD, the only way to get enough HBD is going to be to buy Hive and convert it into HBD. And thirdly, each dollar of liquidity inside VSC is over-collateralized with Hive tokens at 1.5 to 1. So for example, if you have, I don't know, $5 million of liquidity inside the VSC liquidity pools, you're going to need 5 times 1.5. So that, again, increases the demand for Hive tokens. This is actually the first time since Hive launched that there is a new, unique, important use case built for HBD and Hive as tokens. This is the first time. So that's quite important. So you might ask, okay, why would I use your solution? Why would I use these cross-chain swap things instead of all of these established bridges that exist for a long time? Well, really the answer would be, do you want to lose your money? So with most of these centralized bridges that have been established, they're centralized, small operator sets. In many cases, they have failed. So even though cross-chain currently and bridge activity accounts for probably like 2 to 3% of total blockchain activity, some of the biggest hacks in history happened on these bridges. So for example, Ronin Bridge, wormhole, we're talking about billions and billions of dollars. And these hacks didn't happen because someone was super capable hacker, developer. They happened because of a single reason, because they had a single point of failure. And I would even invite everybody to actually check out how they failed. It's quite shocking, even if you're a layman. These problems were so simple to fix if they only cared enough. So, second pillar, 6 more minutes. Smart contracts. So we're using WebAssembly, which means it gives you much more flexibility when deploying your smart contracts. You don't have to choose cryptocurrency developers that are just stuck with Solidity, like on Ethereum. You can use Golang, you can use WebAssembly script, all these programming languages that are kind of standard outside of crypto as well. This is the first time we're bringing decentralized option, fully customizable smart contracts to the chain. And the important thing about this, beyond these being kind of open smart contracts, is the wallet interoperability aspect. So if you're currently like Splinterlands, for example, a game on Hive, if you're a HoloZing, if you're PigD, Essency, who are the users that you have access to? Only those that use Hive, only those that use the Hive wallet, the Hive identity. Because of wallet interoperability, what we allow dApps that maybe deploy on VSC is simple. Because with our smart contracts, you can interact from a Bitcoin wallet address, from an Ethereum wallet address, from a Litecoin, Dogecoin wallet address, from a Hive wallet address. What this does, it expands completely your access to the wider crypto ecosystem. It expands your access to liquidity, expands your access to potential customer base, people that are going to use your application, people that are going to buy your token, that are going to, I don't know, interact with other users using your application. So we're talking about market fit. There's maybe hundreds of different protocols that allow Ethereum identities to interact with their smart contracts. There's maybe a dozen that allow that for Bitcoin wallet addresses, a few for Litecoin. There is not a single protocol out there right now that allows you to interact with their smart contracts, with their dApps, from all these specific blockchains all at the same time. That's a complete, in my opinion, game changer for anybody that's going to be deploying here. That's a complete game changer for anybody that deploys on other blockchains that don't have this capability. Third, 4 minutes to go. I'm trying to speed up the way I'm talking. Native asset mapping, what's this? So this is kind of, as I said, an expansion of what cross-chain swaps can do. On the back end, works similarly, over-collateralization of all tokens brought into the ecosystem with Hive, again. But what native asset mapping is, it's kind of a competitor to wrapping, our own take on it. It allows for different blockchain wallets, different blockchain wallet addresses to hold tokens from any other blockchain. So in essence, you would, which is possible right now, you can connect your Ethereum MetaMask, your Ethereum identity to VSC, and you can hold Hive or HBD inside it. You will have scenarios where you would connect your Solana wallet, your Phantom wallet, to VSC and send Bitcoin to an Ethereum wallet address, which is completely unheard of. All of this economically secured, all of this over-collateralized. Again, the implication for this is pretty much the same as with the smart contracts. Let me just see. Okay, so implications in terms of payments, in terms of remittances. When I was talking about removing all complexity for crypto use, this is what I meant. If you wanted to send some funds to your friend that uses an Ethereum wallet address or a Hive wallet address, and they only accept Bitcoin, you can't really do that in a decentralized manner. What they would do with VSC, they would just connect their wallet to it. Maybe it's an Ethereum wallet. They would select the Bitcoin wallet address they want to send to and send Ethereum directly. In terms of payment, if you're a merchant, what's the current problem with all the payment systems that exist? They tie you to a single blockchain, to a single community. If you're a merchant, you want to sell as many items as you can. You can't really do that because of those limitations. VSC, because of the wallet interoperability aspect, would essentially allow any buyer using any wallet on their phone to make a payment and send it to the merchant that could accept it. So they don't have to choose. Their customer base is no longer just users from a single blockchain. Their customer base is everybody. That's what we're bringing to the table with native asset mapping. Okay, this is related to wrapping. Yeah, the biggest problem, I'm going to try to be really fast because we have a demonstration that Vaultek's going to do in a few minutes, showcasing our flagship application called Altera. So we're going to skip that. Why the problem persists? Crypto tribalism. I would say one of the biggest culprits in this industry. You could kind of pinpoint it to it, saying, why would I develop a solution that's going to benefit somebody that holds a different token than I hold? Why would I develop a solution for somebody that's going to use a different blockchain when my blockchain is best? They're terrible. Theirs is terrible. Mine is the best. Because there is short-term focus, because the development is inward-focused instead of outward-focused, we got to a point where the whole crypto ecosystem is disconnected. All these solutions don't really solve the issue of user experience at the core fundamental level. This is kind of a summary, what we do differently, all kind of tied to the functionality that we're bringing to the table. Direct chain-to-chain settlement, no custodians, completely maintaining your sovereignty as is set up by chain culture or the ethos in the crypto ecosystem. Users keep control, funds never exposed to operator threats, precisely because of the economic security in the system, 2/3 consensus needed. And even if you had a single rogue validator out of 40, 50 of them, they would never endanger the stability of the system. No user funds would be endangered in any way. So you might ask, okay, what about ecosystem participant incentives? What about the economic incentives? Why would I want to be part of VSC? Now, there's kind of 3 different levels of users, VSC. The first, normal user that's going to do swaps, they're going to hold tokens and everything, use our native asset mapping, use our swaps. They benefit, as I said, from sovereignty, from safety, not being exposed to operator theft, and all these other problems that these bridges are facing. Secondly, you have liquidity providers. They earn specific fees, and collateral providers, they kind of share those fees with the liquidity providers. Also to mention is that we're going to be launching a VSC token in 2026. It's going to be a fair launch. It's going to be tied and distributed based on contribution into the system, distributed to Hive holders and everybody else. So I want to thank you for your time. I hope I didn't go too long and it wasn't too complicated understanding what we're trying to achieve with this project. So I would now like to call on Vaultek, our CEO of VSC, the core developer, just to show a bit of what we've built and how you can use our current application. Roland, sorry.
It's all gonna work, man. We're gonna do it from this. So Vaultek is here with me in the operator room. If you might turn around 180 degrees, because look here, guys. Here is Vaultek. He's like a DJ now. DJ Vaultek is running everything behind the scenes. Hi, Vaultek. How are you?
I'm doing well, very, very well. Let's see if we can get this. Some technical difficulties. Alrighty now. As a few of you probably know, we've been working on the Altera app, which is our flagship user end product for VSC and Hive. And I'm going to here show you a few things about what we've been up to on this side of the world. You might first notice that there's social and EVM wallet, which I can here log in with MetaMask. But there's also Hive, of course. And I'll show you the Hive part of this first. Let me sign in here. And here's the end user dashboard. And here you can basically access your kind of, basic details such as like your VSC balance that kind of show a portfolio style view that you might expect in like an exchange, your balances, resource credits, etc., transaction table, you name it, general kind of things that you'd expect here. But some of the unique things that we offer specifically that I'd like to showcase is we now have a deposit view on our site that allows us to do a couple of different things, mainly Lightning transfer, Hive mainnet, of course, which you'd want, and then Coinbase. Now, we've been working on, with the work that we've been doing on our cross-chain connections, is also including a direct Coinbase fiat onboarding, on-ramp. So let's see, we enter an amount, click deposit. And now I would be able to buy Bitcoin on VSC and later Hive as well. So we will be enabling direct support for onboarding with fiat and off-ramps as well with Coinbase. Though we are still working on getting our approval for this widget, as it requires going through, of course, Coinbase and working with their side to approve the rest of the widget. You can also send to other wallets. So for example, like your EVM wallet address here. I'll have to sign in. Hold on a second. And I can take my EVM wallet address and send Hive to it. Okay. Let's see. And just like that, I've sent some Hive from my Hive wallet straight to an EVM wallet on VSC. And what's really important about this ability for us to directly onboard EVM wallets and other wallets from other ecosystems is that we eliminate the need for onboarding. Right? We've reduced the complexity to as simple as a MetaMask sign-in and send over to, you have immediate access to the ecosystem with minimal onboarding. And now you can see the transaction has been confirmed. Now let's go log into that EVM address. Let's see. Maybe the internet's a bit slow. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. Huh. Let me see if there's a... Let me see.
Is what you have with these centralized networks. Ethereum, Infuria down.
Yeah,
down for everyone. Is Infuria down for everyone.com?
Yeah, this is why Keychain is better than MetaMask.
Yeah, use Keychain. Okay, well, I guess we can't show that here, but you can log in directly with your MetaMask wallet. There's also some others we have support as well, like Brave Wallet, Wallet Connect, a whole number of over 400 plus wallets that we support that are all EVM compatible. And so we really make the Hive directly accessible to these outside ecosystems, both in being able to do things like swaps, the cross-chain capabilities that we have, and also just directly accessing Hive dApps and eventually buying the VSC or the Hive token as well. Let's see if we can get Brave to work. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. This is our swap page. Enter in either an EVM wallet address or a Hive account. Example. and our swap page as well, which at the moment we right now have Lightning primarily supported as our swap. But when we will launch the Bitcoin support, we'll also have that as well. Now you could scan the QR code and you'd receive Hive directly. We also have our witness assistant tool, mainly just for our VSC node operators, as well as our staking tool for staking HBD on VSC. And what's a bit unique about HBD on VSC is that it's actually liquid when you're receiving 15% APR. So it means you can move it between different wallets, you can send it to contracts, you could use it in DeFi directly from just on the VSC platform. Yeah, I think I mostly covered everything for the demo. Yeah, I'll pass it back to Roland. Oh. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's it for the demo. Back to Damir now.
Thank you. Super awesome. Amazing. Really, it is. Thanks a lot.
I think we had a few questions, maybe.
It's a bit difficult, man.
Ask the questions later.
Starker had one question. He can ask it. You're very welcome, Starkey. See how easy I am? It's just...
You're very kind, Roland. Thank you. You got no shoes on either, just to let you know. Congratulations. VSC is starting to look amazing. Thanks, Fulltech, and everyone on the team. Quick question. It's more to like give people a vision of what I think the future looks like with VSC, but maybe you can confirm. It looks to me like you're just going to have basically any crypto app. You're going to be able to log in with any wallet if you integrate VSC. And then you're going to be able to transact with any currency, earn an NFT from another chain, put it into a wallet over there. You won't have to integrate all these wallets. You just integrate VSC, and then you can log in with all these other things. So you're going to have these like, we're going to have like this app agnosticism where the apps aren't tied to each chain. VSC is going to provide this app agnosticism where all chains work on all apps. Is that where this is going?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. I wouldn't say you're going to have, well, if you build an app, to put it this way, if you build an app on VSC, then you basically have access to the wider ecosystem when it comes to users and access to liquidity. But at the same time, it's not built on another chain. It's still on VSC. So kind of, it allows you more in comparison to what, if you're tied to Ethereum, if you're tied to Solana, but you're still kind of, it's not that you're accessible from every place at all at the same time. You're still kind of, still on Hive, still using the consensus system, still using all these things in the background that are a Hive or HBD. So yeah, that's kind of part of it, but it's, as I said, it's kind of a game changer for anybody that wants to grow and doesn't want to just be stuck to a single blockchain. So we're not only trying to bring this to the Hive apps, we're trying to bring it to people that we talk to at these conferences that might be looking for a similar solution. And we definitely ran into a number of them that found it interesting. So yeah. So it in a sense, doesn't make Hive EVM compatible, but it does make it EVM wallet compatible, which again applies to being Bitcoin wallet compatible, Litecoin wallet compatible, and everything else that's, you know, comes afterwards.
All right. Thanks a lot, Damir. Thank you.